Welcome to the third episode of the Short Attention Span Bible. In this episode, we'll be going over James chapter 3. Just a quick introduction to the show. As usual, I'm not here to preach or to convert anyone. If the show sounds preachy at times, it is the Bible, so it may sound preachy. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right into James chapter 3. In chapter 3, James talks about the power of words, and how it would take a remarkable, even perfect person to never offend with their mouth. He compares the tongue to the helm of a ship, in that, even though it's a relatively small part of the whole, it steers and directs the ship. He calls the tongue a world of iniquity, which means a world of immorality. Basically, in this chapter, he's saying that there's just a lot of evil, a lot of stress, a lot of strife that comes out of the words that we choose to use, the words that we choose to say, because we don't stop and think before we open our mouth. He says it generally, the mouth, the tongue, it generally does more harm than good in his argument. With its words, the tongue defiles the whole body. He says that humans have tamed every type of animal on earth, and in the air and in the sea, but they cannot tame their own tongue. He calls it an unruly evil and full of deadly poison. Again, this sounds a bit preachy and a little bit hellfire here. But what he's saying is true, if you really sum it up, which is just that people don't think before they speak, and a lot of times their words don't come from the best of intentions, and that causes a lot of havoc and a lot of the stress and a lot of the problems that we encounter in our daily lives. I mean, there's just, as usual with the rest of James, whether you're religious or not, there's a lot of very practical truth here. Moving on. We use our mouth to bless God, but also to curse or to speak badly about our fellow humans, which according to the Bible were made in the image of God, the God that people bless. He's pointing out the contradiction there. We bless God, but then God made us, somewhat in his image, and, we turn around and curse each other. Out of the same mouth, we both curse and bless. Does a fountain send out both sweet water and bitter from the same place? No, it doesn't. Does a fig tree spout both figs and olives? No, it creates one or the other. Our mouth is the only thing in his argument. His argument is basically that our mouth is bizarre because with it, we bring forth both sweet things and bitter things. Basically, in this chapter, he is calling on us to be much more mindful and consistent with the words we choose and the intention or intentions behind them, and which intentions we choose to express in the form of words. He also admits that this is one of the most difficult things a person can attempt to do. As a side note, this is one of the major reasons some monks take a vow of silence. Part of it is that they believe it's actually just best to say nothing, because more harm than good is going to come from their words, even inadvertently, even with the best of intentions. Even someone like a monk who lives such a focused life on what they believe to be good and right. They just don't want to take the risk of sowing discord and creating stress and causing problems with their words. James goes on to say, a wise and knowledgeable person will prove their wisdom and knowledge by living a good, honorable life and by being humble about it, by not going around and using their mouth to brag about how great they are, how good they are, how well they follow the word, etc. He goes on to say, if you're feeling bitter, jealous, and selfish, keep it to yourself. Don't boast, don't lie, and manipulate as people tend to do in these situations. As I have learned elsewhere, you can't control what you feel, or you can, but that's another step. It's more complicated. But generally, it's not so much about controlling what you feel, but controlling your behavior or what you act on or how you act on or don't act on what you're feeling. So if you're in a bitter, jealous, or selfish place, keep your mouth closed, because these feelings are not wisdom, but instead they are earthly and they sow discord. They cause problems. Wisdom from above is pure, peace-loving, gentle at all times, and willing to yield to others, which is difficult. Those are my words, not James's. It is difficult to do that. Wisdom from above is full of mercy and good deeds. It shows no favoritism. That's interesting. That's key. Wisdom from above shows no favoritism and is always sincere. Those who plant seeds of peace will have the righteous fruit that results from that. Okay, well, that is James chapter 3. This is the Short Attention Span Bible. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please click like or subscribe. Please leave comments below if you're so inclined. And if you're listening, tell a friend or somebody about the show. I really enjoy putting this together. I feel good about the work that I'm doing here. I think it's interesting to put this book into plain words for an audience that may or may not even be religious. Just here's what the book says. So tell a friend. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.